Hey everyone, hope you're having a wonderful Friday and I hope everyone has a great weekend. I just want to show a quick video on how to find the greatest common factor and the lowest common multiple. We have been working on this in math for the past week and I thought I'd show you with a quick couple examples for finding these two ideas. So the greatest common factor is going to be the greatest number that can multiply in two numbers to get a product. And the lowest common multiple is going to be the lowest number that can be found as a product in a set of two numbers. So I'll use 12 and 24 as my examples. So the first step is identifying your numbers. The second step is creating a factor rainbow. So the numbers that can multiply to get us 12 are going to go into our factor rainbow. And this obviously starts with the numbers 1 and 12. Now, 1 times 12 is going to give us 12, obviously. What about the next number? Well, we know that 12 is divisible by 2 because the divisibility rule for 2 is, as long as it's an even number, it's divisible by 2. So I write 2 here. I then multiply something by 2 to get 12, and that something I multiply is 6. I either know this by knowing my multiplication facts, or I can look at my multiplication chart here. And then I can look at my multiplication chart to see if there's anything in the multiples of 3 that will get me 12, and there is. There's a 3 multiplied by a 4. So these are my factors for the number 12. Now I move over to my factors for 24. I start with the same two numbers, 1 and whatever number I'm factoring, 24. I then go to the next number, which I know has to be 2, because 24 is an even number. And according to my multiplication chart, 2 times 12 is going to give me 24. I then go to my next number, which is 3. I check my multiplication chart, and sure enough, 3 times 8 is going to get me 24. Now I know at this point that any numbers left that are factors of 24 have to be between 3 and 8, because that's the nature of my factor rainbow. It cancels out certain numbers as I get smaller and smaller in the curves of my rainbow. So then I look at the number 4. 24 is a multiple of 4, because 4 times 6 gets me 24. Now the number in the middle here could be a 5, but we know that 5 cannot be multiplied with anything to get 24, so I'm going to leave 5 out completely. Now the third step is I'm going to make a T-chart. That T-chart is going to list all the factors for 12 and 24. My factors for 12, as I can see from my rainbow for 12, my factor rainbow is 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 12. I write them across from each other, the numbers that are multiplied together to get the number 12. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Then here I write 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24. These are my factors for 24. Now that I see all of my factors, I simply have to identify the biggest common factor, the biggest number that shows up for both of these numbers as factors. I know it's not 1, even though they are common. 1 is not the greatest one. It's not 2, they are common, but 2 is not the greatest one. The greatest common one, as we can see, is 12, because 12 shows up as a common factor in both 12 and 24, and it is the biggest one that both of the numbers share. So now my last step is just answering. My GCF for 12 and 24 is 12. Now we can move on to the LCM. The LCM is going to be right here. My LCM, again, is my lowest common multiple. So I have 8 and 10. This is my first step. There's going to be 3 steps to this. My first step is creating a T-chart where I write all the multiples of the numbers that I'm working with. 8, 10, write my T-chart. And I start with the multiples of 8 times 1, 8 times 2, 8 times 3, 8 times 4, 8 times 5, and 10 times 1, 10 times 2, 10 times 3, 10 times 4, 10 times 5. And I'm going to stop when I see 2 numbers on both sides that are the same, because that will be my lowest common multiple. So I'm going to start with 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. I'm trying to get the students to do about 5 at a time, and then if they need to go on from there, they can. But then we're going to do the next 5 multiples on this side. So we have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now we can see pretty clearly that there is a lowest common multiple. The lowest common multiple for 8 and 10 is 40, because it shows up in both, and it is the lowest common multiple that shows up in both 8 and 10. Now I can write my answer. The LCM of 8 and 10 is 40. Now I could have used my multiplication chart. That is a tool that we use in the classroom. However, we've been doing a lot of work with just finding the patterns in multiples and seeing if they work. And so far, the students are doing really good because we put that practice in early in this unit. So now it's starting to pay off because they're understanding the ways that multiples work very well. The harder concept is the greatest common factor. So what I would say for the greatest common factor is to check out the divisibility rules that either the students have written out, because we did notes on divisibility rules for numbers from 1 to 12, or you can check out the Facebook page where I'm going to put a PDF, like a printout of all of the divisibility rules for numbers 1 to 12. The only ones that are a little bit more difficult to understand are the divisibility rules for the number 7 and the number 11. Those are the 2 that are the hardest to understand. The others are ones that we've caught on to with a lot of ease in the classroom. But again, I do stress that the tool of a multiplication chart is really great, especially one that's colored like this, so that we can see the different rows and the different columns very easily and identify quickly the multiples of things. So that's all for today. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. This is my first time doing a video like this since I was in university, and I really hope that this helps. It's been about 7 years since I did a video like this, but I really hope that any and all of this is helpful. Please let me know if it was, and if you notice anything that I could do better with it, feel free to send me a message. All right. Have a good weekend, everyone, and enjoy. Bye-bye.